All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 14. That is right, week number 14, boom, boom, plus 4, week number 14 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin, and we are wrapping up. As you all are aware, we are in week 14. This is the week 14 check-in video, and we only have a 15-week course, meaning that next week is your last week of regular work within this class before we hit the exams. So basically, you all have made it. Give yourselves a pat on the back and all the other self-congratulatory things that you do. But with that said, the course is not over yet, and that's why we have a state of the course update that we are going to do today. And after that state of the course update, we are going to learn about foreign language resources. That's right, foreign language resources, which your library may or may not have. Again, this will be a public library situation for the most part. So my aspiring academic librarians just continue to get a lot of the information that you need to get to your next spot from the things like the semester-long project, which I will again mention in this state of the course update. So with that said, let's go ahead and pause and get into it. Thank you. All right, so the first thing I want to do now that the LibGuides are all turned in, what I want to do is remind you all. So you may remember that I was saying that, yes, the LibGuide assignment is long, it's involved, it's got a huge rubric, it's something that intimidates a lot of students, but I told you there was a little bit of a method to my madness and that there was not really going to be as much for you to worry about as you thought. And so, hold on for 1 second. All right, actually, before we get into that any further, my daughter is going to say hi. She was good today, so she gets to say hi as her reward. Go ahead and say hi really quick, baby.
Hi, look at my kitty cat.
All right, yeah, she got a new kitty cat stuffed animal, and she wants to show it off, so she is happy that she got her chance. All right, we're going to pause from here. All right, so yes, the main thing I need you all to be aware of when it comes to that LibGuide, now that you've already turned it in, I told you all that I would reveal some information after you all turned it in so that you wouldn't have to be as worried about the LibGuide as students tend to be. So now I can reveal that information, and that information is that the rubric is actually set up for you to be successful. So the thing is, and again, this is something that I don't tell you all before you turn in the assignment because then you might half-ass things and I don't want that. But now that we have had the assignment turned in, what I want you all to know is that when you go through the rubric, a lot of the things that are there, a lot of those rubric prongs, don't get me wrong, as I start grading these, one thing that you all are going to see is that hardly anybody is going to get a 25 out of 25 on that assignment. There are a lot of library school students who are perfectionists, and so I do try to tell these library school students who are perfectionists that in this particular situation, you are not going to do a perfect job, most likely. Most likely, you are going to get dinged some points somewhere, because what the rubric is doing is it's kind of, even though you all are students, it's kind of assessing you based on professional level ability, okay? Now, the reason why I want you all to not fret about that is because here's the thing. Now that it has been turned in, I can reveal that the rubric has all of those prongs so that you actually lose fewer points. I will explain. So there are several prongs in the rubric that are basically prongs that if you follow directions by even the most basic standard, you are going to get those points. So for instance, actually, let me go into it so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so let me scroll down here so that I can again show you all what I'm talking about. So unless you just mail it in, a lot of these are actually going to be full credit. So appropriate topic selected, 1 point. That's the point that you're all probably going to get. You're all probably going to get the point about awareness of the source. You're probably all going to get the point about style and grammatical errors, as long as you didn't have any of those errors, and so forth and so on. So there are really only a few places where students do tend to get dinged, even when they do a good job, and that's going to be this one here, which they may lose a point on, and then also here, when there are things that are not particularly good with the appearance of the LibGuide, a lot of times that's where I'm going to deduct the points and so forth and so on. But usually when people lose points, it is one of those two things, unless they made their video too long, in which case they lose points here as well. But if you only lose points on those two prongs, then you're still getting a 23 out of 25. And really, even if you lost points on some of those other prongs, rarely does a student get worse than a 21 out of a 25 on this assignment. So losing 4 points. And so I say that to say that is how the rubric is built for your success. There are a lot of prongs that you are just frankly probably not going to lose points on. And so the area that you're going to concentrate on is going to be those areas where you might potentially lose points. But there are only going to be like 2, maybe 3 of those. So most of you are going to get between a 22 and a 24. Okay, there are going to be people who get lower than that, but most of you are going to get between a 22 and a 24. Okay, so you're going to be doing just fine. All right, and so now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and discuss some other things with the state of the course update. First of all, I do want you all to know that yes, I realize I'm behind in grading, and I'm behind in grading in all 3 of my classes, and I'm sure your other professors are probably behind in grading as well. What I will say is, hey, I'm doing the best I can. I wanted to, in this class, get the major assignments pretty much graded out. So I know I'm behind on discussion board prompts, but I got your Wikipedia and your virtual reference stuff graded, of course, and I'm going to be working on these LibGuides. But I'm actually probably, you're probably going to get your LibGuide grades probably pretty close to the grading deadline. I hate to say it, but the LibGuides actually do take a long time to grade. So there's just kind of some things about that that make that one a little later, but I'll get your discussions graded soon. By the way, you only have one more discussion in this course, and that's going to be due. Actually, when is that due? Your final discussion board prompt is going to be due on May the 4th. So that is going to be Sunday. So yeah, go ahead and get your, so yeah, I'm glad I made mention of that. So yes, you do have your final discussion board prompt this week, and it's going to be due Sunday. Go ahead and knock that out. And then once you knock it out, the only thing that you have left to do in this class is the semester long project. And so you're pretty much sitting pretty once you do that discussion board prompt. Okay. So that is pretty much it. We are on that home stretch. We are on these last 2 weeks. Again, go ahead, finish up those semester long projects. That's going to take you into, well, yeah, once you finish the semester-long project, you really don't have much of anything to worry about. You just wait for me to grade everything out and then put your grade in my zoo. So, yes, you all pretty much have, you've pretty much reached your level of success, okay? So, yeah. You guys got it? You got it. You got it. All right. And that's pretty much it for the state of the course update. Now let's go ahead and get into just learning a little bit about foreign language resources. And I'm actually not going to demo these. I'm actually just going to tell you a little bit about them. So pause and hold on. All right, thank you, and let's get back into it. So I'm going to tell you all, introduce you all very quickly to 3 foreign language resources that are used in public libraries a lot, and those are going to be I'm actually going to show you a little bit with Mango. Mango is the main one, and then you also have Rosetta Stone Library Edition, and then you also have Duolingo, which Duolingo is free. You can, it's not something that requires like a library paying a subscription fee or anything like that, okay? But let's start with Mango, because that's the one that my local public library actually subscribes to. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find out which of the foreign language library databases your local public library subscribes to. A lot of them will subscribe to Mango. Mango is a major player in our industry. Mango actually has like an exhibit booth at pretty much any major library conference. You'll see Mango there. Mango will actually even host parties and that sort of thing. They'll sponsor parties. I went to a Mango party in Vegas years ago and had more fun than I really should have. So yeah, Mango gets in there, and because of that, Mango gets a lot of business from these various libraries. So anyway, having said that, yes, Mango is the option that Mid-Continent Public Library, my local library, uses. So we are going to go in there. I am not actually going to demo this to the extent that I demoed some of the other databases that I had previously in the class. I'm just going to kind of go in there and look at it a little bit. And I'll do the same with Duolingo. I don't have access to anything with Rosetta Stone Library Edition, so I'm not going to be doing it there. But same rules apply. If you really want to master these databases or get good at them, then what you need to do is actually watch some tutorials and get some practice with them yourself, okay? All right, let's make me small again, and oh, okay. Yeah. Let me pause while I'm doing all this. All right, so once you get into the Mango homepage, and I'm going to tell you, Mango used to be a lot more visually appealing than this. I don't know why they made some of the changes they made, what the logic behind that was and everything, but I remember actually probably about 15 years ago, yeah, when I was about 27, 15 years ago, man, Mango was like, I mean, Mango really was like, it had this interface that looked great and everybody would talk about it and that sort of thing. And now it just kind of has more of a boring look to it. But this is what happens when you come into Mango. You'll see this. And then you have over 70 languages that you can choose courses in. And by the way, Mango, kind of like Learning Express Library, which I showed you all earlier in the semester. Mango is another one that if you create a login, it'll track your progress and that sort of thing. So beware of that. I'm actually going to go into one of the more common languages. But as you can see, there are a lot of languages that are, I shouldn't say obscure, but a lot of languages that you don't really get a lot of support here in the United States as far as learning how to use these languages. So things like Swahili and Hindi and those, you don't really get a lot of support with instruction on those languages here in the United States, Vietnamese and Yiddish or some of the others, Ukrainian even. But you also have your more common languages as well that you can get your that you will see instruction with here in the States, including your Spanish, you got Spanish, you got Italian, you got Japanese, you got French down there. So you do have your more common ones as well. And I am going to go into one of the more common ones. I'm going to go into French and just show you all around just a little bit. So when you get in, you can kind of start here. And again, there used to be like avatars and that sort of thing. You could have like a conversation with the avatar and that sort of thing. And they've done away with that, and I'm honestly not sure why. I'm going to skip the tutorial, but you all, if you want to learn how to really use this, then you're not going to want to skip the tutorial. You've got your lessons here, or slides for lesson 1 at least. So
Listen to the following conversation.
Listen to the following conversation.
Tiens,
bonjour. Ça va?
merci.
Ça va bien, merci.
Très bien,
Et vous?
merci.
Très bien,
Il
merci.
fait froid aujourd'hui.
Il fait froid aujourd'hui.
Oui, en effet.
Oui, en effet.
All right, and so you got stuff like that. And yeah, so you can listen to these conversations. You can also, these are for the introductions. And this is how it goes. So you start out introductions, chapters there. You got lessons within that, including listening, vocabulary recap, blah, blah, blah. And as you scroll down, you get to the next things. After your introductions, you go to connections, community, lifestyle, and you've got this sort of chapter of contents over here, okay? Specialty units, wine and cheese. I love that. And so, yeah, you've got all of these various things. You can go into vocabulary. So if you wanted to do course vocabulary, Mango vocabulary, my vocabulary learn now. So you can, you've got these cards for like small talk and that sort of thing. Days of the week, Monday, and then you can play it. Monday is
Lundi.
Lundi, you know, so forth and so on. So you got that. I'm going to go back and back again. For Explorer, yes, this can be very helpful. I'm going to go to the beginner one. You can come here and just hit play.
Règlement de la piscine.
Règlement de la
De
piscine.
Mango Langage.
De
I
Mango
apologize if
Langage.
there's an echo.
1. Nager doucement.
1. Nager doucement.
2. Respecter autrui.
2. Respecter autrui.
And then you've got your tools so you can actually translate from things into things. So, Dr. Jace is the greatest. I'm not, but I'm just going to say I am for the hell of it here. And then you get this here, le Dr. Jace es le plus grande, okay? And so that's pretty much how this data, and so again, that's pretty much how this database works. This is how Mango works. It was a lot more fun back in the day, and then they've removed features from it. It's not nearly as fun. But Duolingo has similar features to what Mango used to have. So there you have it there. Let's go ahead and talk about a second. Actually, sorry, I need to make myself small here. Okay. Okay, so I'm not actually going to go into anything when it comes to Rosetta Stone Library Solution. I was saying Library Edition, it's actually Library Solution. But you get a little bit of rundown information right here. Rosetta Stone Library Solution as multicultural communities expand interest in learning languages, increases language programs, promote inclusive participation, and strengthen community connections. Rosetta Stone Library Edition meets this growing need, helping learners engage with confidence in multilingual settings. So, I'm sure you all know Rosetta Stone has been around for a long time. This says 25 years. I would have more than 25 years because I was about to say, yeah, they've been around a long, long time. And it used to be, I remember back in the day, some of you were back in elementary school back then, but I remember back in the day when you could go to Best Buy and you would see like the Rosetta Stone editions for learning English or Spanish or something like that. You'd see the disc set in Best Buy, and it'd be like, for the computers and for languages, and I mean these things would be like $250 to $500, okay? But now we have library solutions to them, and I think Duolingo was probably part of the reason why Rosetta Stone kind of, because you will have a hard time finding those Rosetta Stone CDs now, and you also, or DVDs or whatever they were that you would use in the computers. It's hard to find them now, whereas it used to be they used to be everywhere. And then also you don't really see the Rosetta Stone commercials on TV anymore. You used to see Rosetta Stone commercials on TV a lot, and you never see that right now. Well, I shouldn't say never, but you rarely ever see it. But, and let me actually go back. So Johnson County, I'm actually a member of the Johnson County Public Library over in Kansas, but I do not know where my login information is. So there's that. But Johnson County apparently does have Rosetta Stone. And the Rosetta Stone Library Solution, some of the features that it has does include, there are, okay, yeah. 25 languages available, and you can study more than one language. So let's see if I can pull down. Okay, no, that's not going to work. But yeah, there are 25 languages available, and hey, it's language learning software. That's all I really know how to say. Let me see if there is a like a tutorial on YouTube. Hold on. Okay, yes, so thankfully at least we do have that Rosetta Stone video tutorial right here, South Brunswick Public Library. I wonder if that's South Brunswick in North Carolina. But anyway, you've got a video tutorial there. It's 5 years old, so that one's probably not the greatest because these things do get updated. 5 years old, 4 years old. Okay, so a lot of these tutorials are kind of on the old side, but still, if you want to get a crash course on how to use Rosetta Stone Library Solution, if it's not available to you, if it's available to you, I recommend you just go into the database and start getting some practice and just doing it that way. But if it's not available to you, you can go ahead and look for some tutorials, and those tutorials can be found on YouTube and other places on the internet. So that's the second one, and then we are going to check out Duolingo as a third. Hold on a second. All right, so here we go with this. Duolingo, sight language, fun. Well, first of all, here are some of the various languages that you have. See these right here. I know I've already got an account, but I can't remember where it's at. So hopefully I can just get in here and start playing around. I'm going to do Spanish. Hopefully I can just start playing around with it. The world's most popular way to learn Spanish online. All of these things, get started. Come on, baby. Yeah, I can't remember what happened to my login, so hopefully I can get around without using that. Hey there, I'm Duo. Continue. Let's get this party started. How did you... Okay. So yeah, you got to get through all of this stuff first. Let's just TV. Continue. I'm actually going to pause this because you probably don't want to see this. Okay, I actually do want you all to see this part right here. 25 words in your first week. It does allow you to do a per day. It allows you to set up a amount of time for learning, and intense is 20 minutes per day. So even intense, because when we talk about intense exercise, we are talking about longer than 20 minutes. But when we're talking about intense Duolingo use, it's just 20 minutes a day. So that's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead with 5 though, just to keep it on the safe side. Start from scratch. So you have all that information that comes here. It can be hard to stay motivated. So Duolingo is designed to be fun like a game. And again, this is how Mango used to be. Mango used to be kind of like a game, kind of fun, and now it's not. Which one of these is the man?
El hombre.
So yeah, and so you can keep doing like that. No, it does start to get more advanced as you go through it, okay? But that's just the basics of it. And like I said, Duolingo is free. So, and a lot of librarians are trained in using Duolingo, so you can train yourself in using. There are a lot of free things out there that librarians should still train themselves in how to use, including Duolingo, including Yahoo Finance, including what's another free thing that you all should really be into? Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's another thing I was thinking of. Again, that's another thing that is free over the web, but it's definitely something that you as a librarian do want to have some competency with and that sort of thing, okay? So there are a lot of things that can be in your toolkit. Just because they are not paid for by the library doesn't mean that you can't use them to satisfy a patron. And certainly something like Duolingo, if you master it, it can be something that you can show a patron who's trying to learn a foreign language. Just kind of showcase it to them, show it to them, show them how to create a login, show them the basics, and let them go and handle it for themselves, okay? So it's very important to know about your foreign language resources. And then the last thing I want to say is, in addition to that, at most libraries, you are going to have CDs and books as well that are going to be like language learning things and translation things, English to whatever language and to whatever language to English sorts of things. So you've got those types of resources out there as well, okay? And I want you all to be aware of that. All right, let's go ahead and end it right there. So we are keeping this under even under 22 minutes. I am Dr. Jace, and you may want to learn a second language just in case that could come in handy, for instance, with you on the job market or something like that. Who knows? But regardless, it is never bad to learn more than one language. Unfortunately, I only know one, but with some spare time, maybe I could get another one someday. But you all could learn another whenever. All right. I will see you all next week with the final check-in video.